Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Guys, we are a little over 24 hours away from the Dallas Cowboys playoff game against the Atlanta Falcons. That's right, I called it a playoff game because literally, if we don't win, our season is pretty much done. It's win and keep hope alive. And this is a huge game, 1 o'clock kickoff, which will be nice because we'll actually be able to talk about football after the game as opposed to it being 12, 1 o'clock at night and having to go to work the next day. But unfortunately, because I'm in the Washington, D.C. area, the Redskins game is going to be on televised, and it's not here in D.C. But don't worry, we will be live streaming from Lucky's in Kingstown, Virginia. So if you guys are in the DMV area, come on by and see us. I'll be there. I believe DMV Dallas Cowboys should be there. Maybe Michael Anthony Fitness as well as E2 Blue. And we'll be over there broadcasting. There's a Dallas Cowboy fan group and everything else. So you will be welcome. And I can't wait. I tell you what, I'm about to bust. So I'm looking forward to this thing, and I'm going to be ready to rock and roll. But I've got a question because Troy Aikman, is he bipolar? It seems like Troy Aikman moves from thing to thing, from one side of an argument to another. You know, 1 week he said after the Titans game that we need to blow everything up and restructure everything. The next week he says, I think the Cowboys can win the division. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, Troy Aikman said about Dak Prescott. Former Dallas Cowboy quarterback Troy Aikman isn't hiding his feelings about current quarterback Dak Prescott. I quote, he needs to be more accurate with the football, Aikman told radio host on KTCK AM FM Tuesday morning. I've said for many years, as long as I have ever remembered, when I'm asked, hey, what do you look for first in a quarterback? The first thing I look for is more accuracy because the rest of it doesn't matter. Aikman did not express much confidence on Twitter either when he was asked about Prescott. Can any quarterback learn to throw accurately through throwing drills, or is that innate or a trait quality? Tweeted somebody. Improvement can be made, but I've always felt when it comes to accuracy, either you have it or you don't, Aikman said. Okay. So, Troy Aikman basically says that if you ain't got it, you ain't going to get it. If you aren't born with accuracy, you ain't going to learn it. You'll get a little better, but either you are a quarterback or you aren't. And it sounded like in that interview, maybe I'm reading too much into this. It sounded like in that interview that he is saying Dak ain't got it. He can get better, he'll be okay, but he ain't got it. Right? Let me read it one more time again, because that did not sound, I mean, usually you try and sugarcoat things and all. Improvement can be made, but I've always felt when it comes to accuracy, you either have it or you don't. And just like we heard after the Titans game, they need to redo everything with the Cowboys. And then the next week, yeah, they can win the division. This is what he said about Dak this past week.
Yesterday, Troy Aikman supported that. Troy said he's a big Dak fan, suggested the Cowboys should build around him like teams have done with Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, and Russell Wilson. Let's take a listen.
I think that he's going to continue to improve, and I think the great thing about a guy like him, if you do invest that kind of money in him, you know what you're going to get. And there are some players I think you worry a little bit about once they get the big payday. But with Dak, I know that he'll be even more committed to being great and helping his team go on and win a championship. So I certainly wouldn't hesitate to pay him, but the longer you can hold that off just to be certain of your evaluations, I don't see anything wrong with that either.
All right, Shannon. Should Dallas pay Dak?
Jenny, you see what we did now? We played that part and said Troy Aikman says they should play Dak Prescott. But it's the last part that I want to pay close attention to, Skip Bayless.
Okay.
My thing is, if Dak's that guy, what evaluation do we need? What further evaluation do we need? Do we need further evaluation on Carson Wentz? Do we need further evaluation on Jared Goff? If he's that guy,
can I answer?
No. You answer when you get your turn.
No. I mean, Philly's got the Super Bowl MVP on the sideline.
I told you
That's
you
evaluation.
couldn't. I told you you couldn't answer.
Okay, thank you.
With that being said, they really don't have a choice because it's the most important position, and it's so hard. They played Blake Bortles $18 million. 2 years ago, they gave Brock Osweiler $37 million guaranteed.
They did.
They gave Jimmy Garoppolo after 7 starts, Skip, $27.5 million. So the going rate is somewhere between Dak Prescott is somewhere between $20 and $30 million.
Once upon a time, they made Joe Flacco the highest paid quarterback in all of football. Go ahead.
All of football. Alex Smith is at 23.5.
Yep.
Look, I agree with Troy in this. If you believe Dak is the guy, you should surround him with weapons. Now, they went out and got him a weapon in Amari Cooper. Now, this thing needs to work out, Skip, because you can't go back into, people like, well, what about Will Greer? What about this guy? What about that guy? You do realize the Cowboys don't have a 2019 first-round pick. All those guys that they're possibly talking about going to be going in the first round. So basically, here's your guy. You went to the draft, you believe that he's your guy, and he kept Tony Romo on the bench. Now you surround him with guys. You went and got him an Amari Cooper. You probably should go get him a legitimate tight end.
Amen to that. A security blanket.
Give that weapon, because you got Zeke, you got a running game, defense, but you better hurry up, Skip, because you know DeMarcus Lawrence. What you gonna do? Jalen Smith. Zeke Elliott coming up. So you're gonna have to, that's what you do. You got a small window. And the way Jerry's looking at Jerry said, I'm gonna pay him. The question is not whether he pays him. At what end of the pay scale does he fall under? Is it the Case Keenum, Blake Bortles, the 18, 19 million? Or is it the Jimmy Garoppolo, Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan's, the upper ends of the 20s? Almost getting into the 30s. Where are we, Skip? Because I don't think anybody bats an eye. They paid Dak Prescott $20 million a year. I don't think anybody bats an eye. 5 years, $100 million, $75 million guaranteed. Nobody blinks an eye. But now all of a sudden you get 5 years, 150. You do $100 million guaranteed. People are like, whoa, wait a minute now. So either way, it don't make no difference to me.
So are you grudgingly approving of Dak getting franchise quarterback money? Are you doing it by default? Is that what I'm hearing? Because you don't have a better option?
That's what you tell me all the time.
I don't know.
That's what you do to me all the time.
What do you think, Skip?
My turn. Thank you. So I will be the first to admit that the most valuable team in the world always historically inspires the most outrageous overreaction. That is the Dallas Cowboys. So I will be the first to admit that the most shockingly deflating game I have ever watched in horror in all my years of rooting for and supporting the Dallas Cowboys was the Monday night game against Tennessee. And then the most shockingly inflating game to me was what I just saw Sunday night in Philadelphia. So emotions go roller coaster ride, right? So right now we're on the uptick, right?
Yes.
So all that said, I have zero doubts about Dak Prescott going forward. I've told you the issues that I have with him. The decision he made on 2nd and goal from the 6 against Tennessee when you could have gone up 14-0, the interception that he forced over the head of Amari Cooper like he was 7 feet tall was incomprehensible, indefensible, and unforgivable. I give you that. The fumbles, the trying to do too much, unforgivable. So I'm going to put this in a big picture for you. Do I think that Dak Prescott has the arm talent of Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers? I absolutely do not. Do I think that I've called Dak Prescott Brady-esque? Do I think he's even in the ballpark with Tom Brady? No, I do not. But If we want to go to, let's do game manager. You've called him a game manager. You've also called him a bust almost.
I didn't see
you get there. You get real close to bust.
No, I don't.
But let's do game manager.
Okay.
Who's your favorite game manager, quote unquote? It's check down Alex,
Smith.
right? Okay, so let's do Alex Smith versus Dak Prescott. Who do I like? Well, okay, they're similar. Listen, Alex Smith has won a whole bunch of football games in his time in this league as a starting quarterback. So is Dak Prescott. Here's the difference between those two quarterbacks. Dak has a much greater clutch gene, big game clutch gene than check down Alex. I don't trust check down in a big game, big moment to make the play. And I do trust Dak to make that play. Now, he's made a lot of big mistakes too. But Dak Prescott's got warrior spirit in him because even against check down Alex at Washington in the fourth quarter, what happened? He made the blunder of blunders. He lost the football in his own end zone.
Right.
You can't do it in a close game against your arch rival and overcome it, but he almost did. He threw for 120 yards in the fourth quarter and made clutch play after clutch play and set them up with a makeable field goal to force overtime, and then a 5-yard penalty gets called on flinching with the foot. I have no idea. It was an outrageous.
Okay, I've had enough of those two. But, okay, back to my original statement here. Is Troy Aikman bipolar? Because he goes from one end of the spectrum to the other. From Dak Prescott ain't got it to the Cowboys should pay him. You give me your thoughts on that one. And it'll be interesting to see if the Cowboys win again this week, what Troy Aikman has to say about the franchise. Will he go on record in saying that the Dallas Cowboys don't need to change anything? Jason Garrett's the guy. Jerry Jones is GM of the century. It seems like it would be heading in that direction. I don't know. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'm hoping I'll see you guys at Lucky's tomorrow.